Grafe? Here. Jones? Here. Utica? Here. Miller? Here. Kekun? Daman? Here. Corshi? Here. Bailey? Here. Hartley? Here. Margaret? Here. Nandal? Here. Pursley? Here. Neal? Here. Kuzi? Here. Gardy? Here. Saney? Here. Graybill? Here. Bernal? Valenzuela? Here. Lima Barbosa? Here. Valley? Here. Cernaski? Here. Martins? Here. Fliggy? Here. Kabir? Marcus? Here. Right. We'll move into the Pledge of Allegiance led by our Sergeant at Arms. I believe she'll introduce herself before we begin.
Good evening, everyone. I am Cadet Smith with the Army ROTC program, and like you said, I'll be your Sergeant of the Guard or Sergeant of the Arms tonight and lead you in your Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
We'll now move to open forum. Open forum is an opportunity to discuss issues relevant to the student body. If you're here for open forum tonight, I invite you to the lectern at this time. Seeing no one here for open forum, we'll move to adopting the agenda. Is there a motion to do so? Vice Speaker Hartley. There's been a motion to add to the bottom of new business 2026-3-020F, funding for pre-veterinary club event, 2026-3-021F, funding the 180-degree consulting club, and 2026-3-003SA, Malaysian Student Association debt contract. Are there any objections? Back to the agenda as a whole. Senator Nandal.
I move to add 2026-3-001 and 2026-3-001SL to the top of external matters.
There's been a motion to add 2026-3-001A, Articles of Impeachment, and 2026-3-001SL, Election of Impeachment Managers, to the top of external matters. Is there a second? Are there any objections? Back to the agenda as a whole. Is there a motion to approve it? Are there any objections? We'll now move to approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve them? Are there any objections? We'll now move to committee reports, starting with rules.
Hello, everyone. Rules met last night at 7:15. We came up with a 2-pager document of the Constitution changes that you'll see tonight, so that it's a little more condensed. And then we also saw a potential LAS senator who is here tonight, and she's going to be potentially sat. And then we also saw a contract.
Finance.
Sorry, my placard has mysteriously gone missing, so I've been behind Noah Shronaski's placard for the last week, so I just figured I'd keep the tradition going. Finance has technically met 3 times since the last Senate meeting, once for just regular Finance Committee, and then 2 annual allocation meetings, which means we're already a third of the way through annual allocations, but that also means that we have a very long way to go. Finance will be seeing the business pop-up shop contract, and after it goes through Finance, you will see it and vote on it next week. So just be aware of that. If you have any questions relating to that, let me know. And then all of the finance bills you see on first read will also be discussed in Finance. So there will be several contracts coming up. So if you have a question to me about contracts and the process for that and some of the I don't really want to call it legalese, but that is like we have a lot of specific terminology for contracts. So if you're confused by any of that, just let me know. I can try my best to help explain it, but we'll have several in the next few weeks, so just be aware of that. So thank you.
PR?
Hey, everyone. Is this working? Oh, okay. Well, I can't hear it very well. PR meets on Fridays at 5. So we've been going over some of the different materials needed for our mental health event that we're partnering with Health and Wellness on. So all of those materials are almost done, ready to go. And then additionally, events as well as Director of Outreach and I have all been working on getting the town halls scheduled and ready to go. So those are just kind of the general updates for everything.
Is there a motion to add Senator Bernal to the roll? Are there any objections? Idea?
All right, guys, Nabiha can't be here tonight, but the IDEA Committee is working on an event with the Papa John Center for Entrepreneurship, which I mentioned last week. They met with the Papa John Center last week and planned potential topic ideas, and their last meeting involved more idea generation, potentially doing a cultural karaoke night, but it's TBD right now, more to come.
Events?
Okay, so our big project that we've been working on is AI at ISU. The finale will be happening on March 23rd, and we're going to be reaching out just to get some help on staffing that. And then we have 20 teams signed up to present that day.
And then additionally, like Josie said, just getting the town hall, starting to get things going with that. So that will be March 2nd. And then additionally, Saturday we'll be leaving for Big 12 on the Hill, and we're really excited to be there and just contribute to the execution of the event and see all of the hard work that has been put in by President Brandt and Director Meyer that has gone into the event, and seeing that all pay off.
Local affairs?
Hi guys, I know you already heard from me tonight, so thank you. As I said earlier, the joint meeting with the Ames City Council is next Wednesday at 5 p.m. in the Memorial Union Sunroom. I've already gotten a few messages from you guys, so thank you for that. And then, yeah, just keep an eye out for those documents that I told you about, and we'll just go from there. I'm excited for next week, so thank you guys for participating in the working meeting.
Sustainability?
Okay, so so 2 updates today. First of all, we passed a Green Initiatives Fund just now with Good Earth Student Farms to help with food insecurity on campus, which is super cool. And then you're also going to get a first read from us. I know, crazy. And it's essentially asking for more money in the Green Initiatives Funds. That way we can continue to work on projects for this year.
Health and wellness?
All right. For the mental health symposium that Amaya Graybill is kind of working on, Health and Wellness will host a Q&A, and counseling services will be there. The Out of the Darkness Walk, which is not hosted by student government, but that will be Saturday, April 25th at 9 a.m. We will be having a table. And then the mental health, I'm reading my notes wrong. The Health and Wellness Committee is in the beginning stages of planning a midterm tabling event that'll be similar to the finals tabling event we saw at the end of last semester, and it sounds like Gatorade and Pepsi will be collaborating.
Legislative ambassadors?
Oh, that's me. So I want to say Colby and I have been working really hard on getting our Big 12 on the Hill event finalized. We leave on Saturday, and so I'm really excited to welcome everyone from across the Big 12 to DC. We've put in a lot of time, and I think it's going to turn out to be a really great event. So I'm really excited to give you guys an update on that after we get back. I've got meetings with the entire Iowa delegation, and additionally, yesterday we had our second official Legislative Ambassador Day at the Capitol in Des Moines, And it was really productive. We had a meeting with the Speaker of the House and the Majority Leader of the House, as well as some others, and they were really receptive to our workforce proposal, and I'm really excited to see where that goes this session. I think a really big thing that I also want to leave you all with is that I'm really proud of the work that we've been able to accomplish this year. I'm proud of the leadership we've been able to do, and I'm really proud that our work has been wholly our own, and so, yeah.
Academic Affairs.
My first report. So I have 2 prospective senators so far, which is super exciting. Shout out to them. And if you're interested in joining my committee, please shoot me a Teams message. We're in the process of finding a time to meet right now, so now would be the perfect time to join. Also, if you are passionate about making history by writing a seating bill for the first ever academic affairs senators, please let me know. And we have a bunch of prospective topics for the committee that we're going to be diving into soon, about 5 different ones that we're going to look at. So if you're interested, now's a great time to join, and more on this to come.
Election Commission.
Everyone, just a couple things for me today. Just a thank you to all those that attended the debate. We thought everything went pretty well. If you have any feedback how those went and want to see any new changes for next year, feel free to reach out, and then we can take that into consideration for next year. Just some things for violations. This mostly goes to any candidates that are running. Just make sure that you don't use violations as a way to campaign. These are a way for us to enforce the election code, not a way to kind of bury any particular opponent. Kind of in pursuit of that, we just approved a new temporary rule this afternoon, just kind of preventing any sort of frivolous violations that get filed. So if you file something that's just baseless and trying to be retaliatory, the Election Commission will investigate that. And then also as a reminder for Senate candidates specifically, we're kind of at the midpoint of the campaign, so if you haven't done your campaign outreach credits, make sure to get those done as soon as possible. If you have questions about kind of what that looks like, reach out to your liaison. Just remember that you got to let them know that you're doing it for us to count it. That's it.
Comments from the judicial branch.
Hi, yeah, so we were able to meet this week and go over the new constitutional proposals you'll see tonight. So, yeah, just we're able to make some comments. That's all.
Comments from the advisor.
Thing. Oh, now I'm on. Okay, one quick thing. Some of you saw some of the messages about the Teams channel. People got removed and then added back. We've identified the issue. It may have been human error, but I will not throw anyone under the bus. It should be fixed. I know that all senators, cabinet members, Supreme Court justices, and election commission members have been added back in. I don't know that all at-large committee members got added back in. And you won't be able to add them to your restricted channel if they're not in the general team. So I think all the chief officers, all the advisors, and Amy have the ability to add people back to that general team. So take a quick look before your next meeting or event where people would need access and make sure that your at-larges or other committee members got added back, and then let one of us know if they haven't. But other than that, that's all I have.
Comments from the executive branch.
Hi, everyone. Emily pretty much stole it all from me, but looking forward to Big 12 on the Hill this Saturday and looking forward to welcoming everyone to Washington, D.C. It's going to be a great time. Thank you.
We'll now move to 2026-3-001A, Articles of Impeachment with Senator Nandal.
Okay, so these articles are against President Kobe Bryant. The integrity of student government and its office depends on how each officer behaves and how they act free from any influences of an external organization. In his conduct, President Bryant has defaulted on his duties and perform malfeasance of his duty. The whereas clauses of these articles explain them in much more detail, and student government denounces all involvement of external influences and does not tolerate the use of student government office for personal benefit where the integrity of student representation is in jeopardy. And we wish to set a strong precedent against this conduct And so I think we will consider each article, and I can talk more about them.
So how we'll do this is we'll start with the first article and we'll work our way down. We'll vote on each article. For each article to pass, it requires half of seated senators through a roll call vote. So we'll start with the first one and work our way down. Is there any questions before we begin? It'll be like normal debate. Okay. So we'll open debate on the first article, violation of the oath of office. Senator Nandal.
Okay, so I will just explain by reading the statement. So prior to assuming the presidency, Kobe Bryant swore an oath in the Article 5 and Clause 5 of the Constitution to execute his duties for the benefit of all students. In his conduct, President Bryant has violated this oath. Every senator in this office has also taken this oath to execute their duties successfully, and I believe in his conduct that President Bryant has failed to do so.
It's been called to question. Is there a second? Are there any objections? We'll move forward with a roll call vote on Article 1. Einer Dimhoff. Yes. Grafe. Yes. Jones. One more time. Utica. Miller. No. One more time. No. Kikun. Dahmen. Yes. Corshi. Yes. Bailey. Yes. Hartley. Yes. Margaret. Yes. Nandal. Yes. Pursley. Yes. Neal. Kuzi. Abstain. Gardy. Yes. Saini. Graybell. Yes. Bernal. Yes. Valenzuela. Yes. Lima Barbosa. Valley. Yes. Cernaski. Yes. Martins. Yes. Fliggy. Yes. Kabir. Yes. Marcus. Yes. Kikun. With a vote of 23 to 1 to 3, it passes. We'll now move to Article 2, malfeasance of duty. The floor is open for debate. Senator Kikun.
I would like to seek some clarification. I don't know if the speaker could maybe shed more light a little bit on how this impeachment process is supposed to work.
So you're yielding time to the speaker to clarify on the impeachment process?
Yeah, I think the speaker has her time.
Yep. We will be going through each article that is claimed in the bill and voting on each article individually on whether each senator believes that the article.
Oh, so because why I'm asking this is like, is it like starting at this point, or is there a point to discuss this exhaustively? Was this supposed to go through rules, or which other process was this supposed to? Yeah.
So with articles of impeachment, it does not have first read and it does not go through rules. It can be introduced by any senator, and it needs a majority vote by the Senate, and then it will go to the court for an investigation, each article. And we will vote individually on each article as they are different.
So after the investigation, then what would be the outcome? Like, what would be the next process after the investigation?
When each article passes, they will go to the court, and there will be a court case deciding the outcome.
Because why I ask this is like some allegations are really weighty and would actually require giving the Legislative House a bit of some time in order to weigh most of these items, and someone can make a more informed decision. And we have also the Rules Committee, which I don't know, maybe in the case of senators also has to look at some items, but I don't know if that's different for the executives. Usually, I think maybe the rule sets an investigative committee to investigate most of these also. So that's why I'm asking. But from my own perspective, I think, especially with things of this magnitude, it would be really good to do like justice to everything, making sure no stone is left unturned, so everyone is treated justly and fairly.
Can I respond?
Of course.
So I agree 100%, and that is one of the reasons that we have our judicial branch to check our actions. Also, for our bylaws, per the order in which we do impeachments, the reason that we have the non-exhaustive time of discussion is to be able to have these discussions. So there's absolutely no time limit on tonight's discussion of impeachment, so we have the ability to discuss each article for as long as we desire. This is not a rules investigation because this is added to the agenda and if considered immediately, that would require a first and second read to go through rules. I agree, we don't want to do things too quickly, so if people feel we should slowly go through each article to consider them fully.
Okay, thank you. So in that respect, I would really suggest we go through each article, and in any issue, I would really like to hear from the other party. If you have anything to say, I don't know if that's allowed here, but I would really like to hear both perspectives, and in order to substantiate any claim, because that's going to inform my decision.
Yes, so according to our bylaws, the other party does not have speaking privileges. That would be for them to plead their case to the court.
So yielding of speaking privilege does not work in this instance?
We can lend speaking privileges, but they're not already allotted to them.
No, I didn't get you there.
So per how our bylaws have this written, the other party does not have speaking privileges, but we can give them to them if they would like, if that makes sense.
Okay, so not like they are prohibited from speaking, but just that they don't have speaking privilege, just like in every Senate meeting, but could be lended speaking privilege.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Grafe.
First and foremost, I kind of want to speak to why this is occurring. And then I'm also going to read Article 2 so that we slowly hear every word that is in this document, because I think that's so important. And thank you for saying that. All of that was needed to be said. First and foremost, this is unfortunate. We all feel bad, of course. We've all established a relationship with Colby, and at the end of the day, it hurts hurting somebody who you've established a relationship with, either good or bad. And it's unfortunate, and we're all sad. But we're elected into these positions to do this sort of thing. So of course, it's unfortunate, but we must do it. Now to speak on why this is occurring. So President Brandt is already incentivized by this university for his position. And a part of the soft-spoken rule of that position, as well as hard-spoken rule, is that you need to maintain nonpartisan to best represent all students at this university. He then used his position at this university to then be incentivized by an external organization that is highly partisan. Of course, we all have political beliefs. Every single one of us has political beliefs, but that is in your personal time. That is for not you to do using your position. George Washington frowned upon political parties. And I would hate for our student government to be set up in the same way the federal and local and state government is. Therefore, this is very much grounds for malfeasance, and that is all I will say at this time. Now, let's read Article 2. Article 2, Section H, Clause 3 of the Student Government Constitution provides that impeachment shall be limited to malfeasance, misfeasance, or nonfeasance of duty. Malfeasance is understood as the intentional commission of a wrongful act by a public official acting outside the lawful scope of his authority. President Brandt's acceptance of a recruiter role with the Campus Victory Project constitutes such an act, as does other such conduct. Recruiters within the Campus Victory Project are tasked, according to the organization's own published job descriptions, with identifying students with leadership potential and encouraging them to run for student government office. President Brandt accepted this role while simultaneously serving as the highest elected official of Iowa State University's student government, an office that requires him to administer key government functions, negotiate agreements, appoint individuals to numerous posts, and represent the student body without favor of partisan alignment. By operating as a recruiter for an organization seeking to place its preferred candidates in student government offices and engaging in such conduct, President Brandt engaged in conduct outside the lawful scope of his presidential duties and incapable with the impartial exercise of his authority. The Senate finds that this conduct constitutes malfeasance of duty within the meaning of the Constitution. Be it therefore enacted that the Article 2 of impeachment is adopted, effective immediately, and proposed to the student government's impeachment court alongside 2 selected Senate representatives.
Senator Bernal.
Thank you. So I can definitely speak on behalf of Article 2, and I believe why we should indeed pass it. Most of it focuses on the recruitment that President Brandt did with certain members of the government. If you go to the 6th whereas clause, let me pull it. It states that per extensive text and flight logs provided by nonprofit coordinator Nolan Clemens-Rude, as well as an indirect eyewitness account from me, President Colby Brandt has attended at least one all-expense-paid prospective leadership retreat in Scottsdale, Arizona, their participation in which his delegation deliberately concealed from the government. If all of you click on the first link provided and go down to the 5th image, you will see a text message between Josie and Nolan stating that blank is next to me, the name is redacted, he's a senator. I can confirm that's me. How can I confirm it's me? If you look at both page 6 and 10, there are flight information. Des Moines to Phoenix, Southwest Airlines, flight number 2710. Right now on my computer, I have it pulled up. I have tickets from that exact date, December 18th, 2025, and Brody can confirm right now, flight 2701 departing from Des Moines to Phoenix through Southwest Airlines. So I can confirm through indirect eyewitness that he indeed did recruit, per the statements of Nolan, both him and Josie, to go to this event. If any of you want to see this image and get full proof confirmed, I can, of course, send it to you and fully verify that it is indeed me who was on that plane with both of those people. Thank you.
Senator Lima Barbosa.
Okay, I feel like at this point we all know that we're tense, this is tense, and it's supposed to be like this. But with that being said, we need to talk about this. We cannot vote yes, regardless of what we think. We should vote what we think and representing the people we do represent, but we should discuss about this. We cannot vote one article and vote the other one yes or no. We gotta talk about it. I know that people have talked behind the scenes, but this is live stream. We're representing students, and we should talk about it. So, like, I understand that it's complicated. It's a delicate situation, but I really want people to debate it and talk about it. And, I don't know, dialogue.
Senator Iona Dimhoff.
Hey everyone, so on the subject of Article 2, I just want to really emphasize the fact that it's important that we all separate the individual from the position. President and recruiter should not belong to the same individual, and I think it's very important that we keep that in mind when evaluating this article.
Speaker Pursley.
Okay. This article is based off of malfeasances. As the Speaker of the Senate, it is my job to define what a malfeasance is. I gave Shrusti this definition of malfeasance, the intentional commission of a wrongful act by a public official acting outside the lawful scope of their authority. I do believe that from the evidence I've seen, it is a malfeasance of the duties prescribed. It's unfortunate, but I do see it as a malfeasance.
Senator Kekun.
Okay, from the Article 2 you read, you mentioned Kobe accepting, is it a recruiter position or something? So I would like some more clarification on that. Is it like a paid position? If someone could respond to that. And like, based on what evidence is this based on? And maybe after this, I would also like to hear from either Kobe or someone on the nature of this.
Yes, this position was paid.
Pardon my understanding. Now, in just basic terms, if I'm talking like, okay, this is a recruiter, so I don't know the term in which you mean a recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
So is it like he's actually scouting for this organization, he's paid to do this, he has been doing this, like a position?
Yes.
Or just attending an event?
Yeah. So the title of a recruiter is, it can be for any organization, but for this organization in particular, it was recruiting individuals who would potentially have like-minded ideals tied to this organization.
So do we have evidence that this was a paid position, since we are asserting that it's actually been incentivized?
Yes, we have evidence that this was a paid position.
Is it included in this document?
Check whereas clause 5.
Whereas clause 5, and I don't mean like maybe all expense paid trip, or I mean like real evidence that this is.
Can I yield time to you? Okay, here, you just speak.
Okay, so for the job description and to see if it is paid, it should be the box link on the whereas clause 5. If that doesn't work, if you just X out of that document, it should be in the box.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at whereas clause 5, the one with the picture of Scott
Yeah,
or something.
if you just X out of the document on that box link, it should leave. I'm gonna update the link right now if that's not working, but
okay.
it is a paid position.
Okay, while we look at this, I would like to yield my time to Kobe. Kobe, if you would like to say something on, if you could please clarify on like the nature of your relationship with the state organization, if you do have a relationship with this organization, and also the set recruiter role also. If you could please clarify on some of this.
I'll save my comments for the Supreme Court. Thanks.
Thank you.
Senator Srinaski.
On one of the pictures, it states that Colby missed some student government events. I was just wondering if we know what those were at the time. To go to the conference, like he missed events at the same time.
Would you like to yield your time to somebody?
Yeah, whoever can answer, please. Thank you.
Are there any takers?
Point of information, what whereas clause are you referring
Was that 7? Yeah. Was that 7? What clause is that? Clause 7, page 5 on the link. Clause 5. Sorry, excuse me. Whereas number 5, and then the picture about the waste management open. It's the golf picture. I was just wondering what was missed. Sorry, the whereas clause that I'm referring to is per available photos and event details, or event agendas, President Colby Brandt has accepted numerous high-profile speaking engagements and so on. The link that's listed there.
I can speak to the event he missed. I'm pretty sure it was a student government meeting due to his attendance at a waste management open.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Senator Nandal. Senator Bernal.
So I believe any event that would taken place between February 2nd to February 8th, that is what online has told me about the Waste Management Open. So I believe that would indeed include a student government Senate meeting. So those were the dates provided to me by the Waste Management Open about, it was per its website, the 2026 Waste Management Open returns to Scottsdale February 2nd to 8th. So it'd be any event that falls in between that length.
Senator Lima Barbosa.
Okay, this might be a silly question, but I feel like we need to go through it. How can we define the difference of using a role as a part of a resume, and like we all have this role in our resumes, and actively using it to malfeasance? Like, I just want us to be very clear in defining how can this differ from resume use?
I think the largest difference is that he specifically utilized his Iowa State president role in this position. It was him representing the Iowa State student government in a job that was very highly partisan. So that is the issue. Everyone is allowed to, in their personal time, like I know a lot of people here are clerks. You're allowed to be a clerk, but as long as you're not wearing your student government name tag or openly coming to your job as your student government self, if that makes sense. That is the distinct distinguation here. I know I said that wrong, just ignore that, but yeah. I would love other people to comment, please.
Senator Lima Barbosa.
I feel like I threw this in the air, but I knew my answer, but I wanted other people to point out of it. I feel like looking at this, you can see the difference between having it in a resume and using this to like gain points in a job, than using this as part of your role in the job. So I feel like that for me is the difference, but I think this specific part that I said is something that deserves to be more, have more opinions and be more debated, because I feel like this is a huge part of what's being described in the bill.
Senator Graybill.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I think that the really cool thing about going to a large school like Iowa State is that we all come from really diverse backgrounds and perspectives. And looking around this room, we're all coming from different places and we all have our own beliefs, like we've said. When we have a leader that is representing all of Iowa State and their diverse perspectives, in a partisan platform specifically, and I think this kind of goes along with that question, along with recruiting students to become a part of student government to push a certain agenda, we're not representing the entire student body, which is our jobs. And so I think as Senate, that's something we need to be cognizant about, that if we're complacent with these actions, in some ways it's setting the tone that we are in alignment with those beliefs, and that is how we also want to represent the student body, which I think is not correct.
Senator Neal.
This is just echoing a little bit of what Senator Graybill just said, and I'm only going to say this once because I think, at least for me, it covers a lot of the articles that we're going to go over today. What's concerning for me, and what I believe to be concerning for a lot of people, is not the fact that someone has a certain political ideology. Several people in this room have varying political beliefs. I help represent thousands of students who all have different political beliefs. It's the fact that being so closely associated with an organization whose goal is to, quote, commandeer the top office of student body president, and further, to also place other people in influential organizations and key leadership positions on campus with a partisan bias is concerning to me. If you're using your position in student government where you're supposed to represent all students and you have a partisan push behind that. That is my concern. I think that's a lot of people's concern, and I think that's the main thing that we need to address when looking at these articles.
Senator Iona Dimhoff.
All right, so on Article 2, are we able to, on the screens, pull up the hyperlink for whereas clause? Whereas clause 6, the first hyperlink.
Yes, I'm very sorry. Both of our computers just randomly stopped working for the screens at the same time.
Oh, okay.
So we're trying to figure it out. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
But
So then can everyone go to that and then go to page 7 for the PDF labeled communications? I think this text message really applies to this article about working as a recruiter and how it's a malfeasance, so I'll read out loud for everyone. This is from Colby Brandt. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really looking forward to seeing you all in Scottsdale in just a few short days. Best of luck as you wrap up the rest of your finals. Let's also look at the date, December 15th, and then we all know what happened in Scottsdale at the end of December. It was the retreat. All right, so please remember to check in for your flights 24 hours in advance. I recommend downloading your airline app and searching for your ticket using the confirmation code from the text I sent. From there, you can add your boarding pass directly to your Apple Wallet. And further on, we just see more description of the work of a recruiter for this retreat. So I just wanted to clarify, there's a piece of evidence that connects to this article that we are currently looking at.
Vice Speaker Hartley.
This is kind of just a general statement. I've been thinking about this a lot the last couple of days, but I think that as a Senate and as members elected by the student body, we all need to remember that we need to remove ourselves from any biases we may have had outside of this. We are senators, we are elected to these positions, we are supposed to look at these objectively and vote on behalf of our constituents. That is what we're here doing today. We're not thinking of any campaign we may be a part of. We're not thinking of any political party we may be a part of. We are thinking on behalf of our constituents and what is best for the people who elected us into these positions. It is important for us to put aside our own personal beliefs and decide on these articles in the best of the student body. And I think that's something I feel very passionate about, and I think that people need to speak on behalf of their constituents, and I don't think that people should be afraid to speak tonight because of any political campaign that they may be a part of right now. And that is all I have to say right now.
Speaker Pursley.
I will say the reason that I voted the way I did on Article 1 is because I have had constituents come up to me in public spaces. A lot of people have been coming up to me asking what's going on with student government. I didn't realize that it's partisan now. I have to explain, student government is not partisan, and it never should be, and it never will be. We're about representing all of our students, not just one political party. And I understand that a lot of people in student government work politically outside of their roles as in student government, and it's totally okay for people to be working for a political party either way. But when it is a group that's sole job is to recruit people for student government to push one party's agenda, that crosses a line.
Senator Lima Barbosa.
This will be repetitive, but I think at this point, being repetitive, it's not a bad thing. I just did a outreach for my campaign 30 minutes ago, and the first thing I said, student government has the government word, but we are not associated with any political party. And that's how it should be for every single one of us, because I know that I represent 20,500 students at College of Design, and I cannot put my political opinion on those 2,500 students. So I'm not here voting for any political opinion. I am not here representing what I personally believe or what I don't personally believe. I'm representing the well-being of those students and not their political opinions either. So we should focus in what's objectively wrong with this. Not the political side, not any of those.
It's been called to question and seconded. Are there any objections? Move forward with a roll call vote. Iona Dimhoff. Yes. Grafe. Yes. Jones. Yes. Utica. Yes. Miller. Kikun? Dahman? Corshi? Bailey? Hartley? Margaret? Nandal? Pursley? Neal? Kuzi? Gardy? Saney, Graybill, Bernal, Valenzuela, Lima Barbosa, Valley, Srinaski, Martins, Fliggy, Kabir, Marcus. Jones. With a vote of 23 to 0 to 4, it passes. We'll move to Article 3, failures of representative duty, and the floor is open for debate. Senator Marcus.
Yeah, ooh, that is loud, sorry. So I know, obviously, a lot of people have discussed, some more than others. A lot of points have been made, a lot of information has been given to us. I know that this also being an item added to the agenda at a later point in time, having it added, today right before the meeting rather than yesterday, just because of the way everything worked out, it's a lot of information to all process at once during the meeting. So like many of you, I have been reading through everything, rereading through everything, looking at all of the information that there is, as we look at each article, still learning the process. I know none of us have been through this before, at least to my knowledge. And so this is new for all of us. And one of the things that has been kind of resonating with me is a lot of people have talked about, this isn't about your viewpoint. This isn't about your personal choice. This is about your constituents. This is about all of the students at Iowa State that we are here to represent. And I tried to put myself out of my situation I'm in now into the people I know that don't know much about student government or don't know much about what we do or anything like that. What would their first question be? What would they want to know? What would they be looking at? How would they vote? And so I'm going to ask a question here to President Brandt. I know on the last topic you said you'd like to save any comments you have. I'm willing to yield you time because my first thought was I would like to hear both sides. And so we have heard a lot of what is written. I am willing to just hear anything you would have to say at all any comment you'd be willing to give.
I'll save my comments for the Supreme Court, thanks.
Okay. Then I yield.
Senator Srinaski.
I think that it's really important to keep the minds of the constituents at heart here. All the people that we're representing, whether or not they would want for their president to be involved in a partisan organization. And I think that part of that representative power comes with a lot of responsibility. And I think that it's important to kind of separate too whether or not being able to have these opportunities was a gift or whether or not it was bribery. Because this is another thing that can be really well looked in on, and anything that's gifted to anybody, I believe, should have no strings attached, and I just don't see having all expense paid trips down to conferences as a thing that has no strings attached. And I think that it's a really bad look for our constituents if we don't overlook that, or if we do overlook that.
Senator Jones.
Hi, everyone. I wanted to ask a question. Do we have concrete examples of failure to represent or failure of representative duty? I'd love to hear from the people who wrote the bill. I'm trying to hear all sides.
Speaker Persley.
Yeah, I think it's important to look at the language that's being said here. Clause 4 of the Student Government Constitution designates the president as the official representative of the students of Iowa State University. So this article talks about how the president represents every student at Iowa State. I think that in this context, the president needs to represent all students and not push an agenda. But I also have seen ways in which President Brandt has been a great representative of the students of Iowa State. So I feel very conflicted by that.
Senator Iona Dimhoff.
I think that's a really important question that you asked, Senator Jones, and I would say, to echo what Speaker Persley had said, the way that this article is written is very important. It says how representatives who accept undisclosed benefits cannot be said to represent the whole student body. And this is supported by whereas clause 4 per a public statement by Senior Director of Communications, Josie Kelly. President Colby Brandt was bound to a non-disclosure agreement as a function of this role. So I think that from my understanding that the wording of you cannot be said to represent if you are accepting undisclosed benefits is really key to look at.
Senator Miller.
I think Article 3 is also very weak, but I will say the secrecy behind all of this and the non-disclosure agreements and everything are kind of the reasons why I support sending this to, or just overall, some of these articles to the judicial branch. And yeah.
Speaker Persley.
If you go back to the text messages with the interaction with Senator Bernal, it also says, don't tell him anything. That's usually indicative of wrongdoing if you are asking someone not to talk about it and being secretive about it.
Senator Bernal.
I do understand the kind of reasoning behind keeping it secret. I know I was the one who was potentially withheld this information as considering I was sitting both right next to the nonprofit coordinator and a row behind the senior director of communications. However, I don't think just simply stating like a text message saying keep it secret should be enough evidence of guilt. I think the other actions, such as the all expenses paid trip, is more indicative of what we should be focusing on rather than the message of saying, don't tell me, basically.
Senator Kekun.
Yeah, okay. From my own perspective, I think if it were possible, but I've asked Kobe and I think Marcus too, I've asked him to actually clarify maybe his relationship with this said organization. That would have helped in granting a bit more direction to this. As most of us have mentioned already, that Article 3 stands on quite somewhat, but some things that could lend credence to that would be if you are, if the nature of your relationship with an organization, which is clearly partisan or pushes a different agenda that may not be representative of every student, I think that it's actually a failure on that part, which is actually a very strong one. But that would have maybe been struck out if someone would explain more or shed a bit more light to that. So, I yield.
Senator Jones.
I am totally in favor of keeping politics out of student government. I'm like totally in favor of that. I wish we had more evidence of this NDA. All we have is someone saying there's an NDA. Am I wrong? Please correct me if I'm wrong. I wish we had more evidence. I feel like when we're looking at all of this compiled, especially for this Article 3, someone saying that there's an NDA isn't substantial because we don't actually know if he has an NDA because President Brandt has not clarified he has an NDA or not. Which I don't know if you can clarify if you have an NDA, but.
Speaker Persley.
Unfortunately, the nature of an NDA is that you aren't allowed to talk about your position, things like that. So that is the nature of it.
Senator Neal.
A little more on that. Obviously, I don't know any of this information firsthand. And one of the pieces of evidence, though, in the job description at the very bottom, it says all applicants will be subject to a background check and would be required to sign an NDA for employment. So I think that's where that's coming from.
Senator Kikun.
I think as per the description of the write-up from the brochure that is shared on the state organization, if you have any substantial, maybe workings with such organization, then I think it actually violates your oath of office to represent the student fairly. So saying that is not substantial, then I think it's not correct, because that's why I was very particular in clarifying the nature of a relation. We've all said here that having a specific political view is not really the problem. We are all coming from diverse backgrounds, yes, but the nature of a relationship, also in conjunction with the office you now occupy, I think that actually speaks a lot. So that's really the crux for me.
Senator Graybill.
I think looking at the official representatives of Iowa State University, kind of the relationship again, are you at a leadership conference as a student leader, or are you at a partisan leadership conference as Iowa State University student body president?
Senator Cernaski.
I was wondering if we have any evidence as to whether or not it was a paid position or if it was more of a representative role.
Senator Nandal.
The job description which Senator Neal read and what I have linked in a comment, I think the third line of it says it's a full-time salaried position, so it is paid.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Marcus.
Just a quick question to the speaker on clarification for here. Is it each article that is passed is sent to the court and considered individually, or is it each article that is passed and then they're considered as a whole? Or
It's considered individually.
okay. So if one article is failed, or if multiple articles are failed, it's whatever is passed is sent?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I yield.
Vice Speaker Hartley.
I apologize. There are a lot of links on my computer, and I accidentally opened one. I'd like to yield my time to Amaya if she'd like to continue what she was saying. I thought maybe you weren't done with your statement wholly.
Sorry, I got distracted. That was just the basis of it. Like, if we're being representative of the entire student body, and this is just echoing the same thing, but like specifically looking at this clause, if you're there networking within your position as the student body president, that's not being representative of the entire student body. It's not a nonpartisan leadership convention, and I think that's the difference.
Senator Gardy.
In regard to this specific article, I invite everybody to open whereas clause number 2, a published brochure. In it, on page 3, it says, this will allow Turning Point USA to train, educate, and channel proper messaging. I just personally believe at a university that that is not what a student body organization should advocate for. We can't decide people's messages or what to train, educate, and channel into them. I yield.
It's been called to question and seconded. Are there any objections? We'll now move forward with a roll call vote on Article 3. Iona Dimhoff. Grafe. Jones. Utica. Miller. One more time. Kikun. Daman. Korshi. Bailey. Hartley. Margaret. Nandal. Pursley. Neal. Kuzi. Gardy. Saini. Graybell. Bernal. Valenzuela. Lima Barbosa. Valley. Cernaski. Martins. Fliggy. Kabir. Marcus. Valenzuela. With a vote of 24 to 1 to 2, it passes. We will now move to Article 4, Abuse of the Office of the President. I open the floor to debate. Senator Utica.
Looking at Article 4, it said that he abused the office of the president for personal gain and prevented the fair and effective administration of the government. I wanted to know if there's a concrete example on that of how he actually prevented the fair and effective administration of the government. I'm asking the speaker if there is any concrete example on that.
Senator Nandal, yeah.
Okay, so as President Brand has taken trips that are paid by this organization, which again, were all paid by Campus Victory Project and that organization and for his own benefit, and he was a speaker in one of those, I believe that is a personal gain to his office. And additionally, the job description of a Campus Victory Project representative says that, give me a second, the Campus Victory Project seeking a professional motivated campus department, so they help them meet students and help them recruit them while being paid for just that position of being the student body president. You're selected for this role because you're the student body president, not any other capacity, where you're selecting candidates for the next presidency and recruiting them for this retreat. I don't know if I worded that correctly or.
Senator Bernal.
Okay, I know I'm going to try and partially also answer your questions by reading off a part of the article. Let me scroll back down to it. It says, the evidence before the Senate establishes that President Brandt accepted his recruiter role, his travel and accommodations, and his speaking engagements with the Campus Victory Project, not despite his office, but because of it. And I'm going to emphasize this part, in addition to engaging others in such conduct. And this is where I have direct eyewitness account for myself about 2 members of the executive board flying to Arizona in order to engage in this conference per se. So I believe it's not just the actions of himself, but how we tried to attempt to recruit others to this event, which he did indeed hold multiple sessions. If you look at the brochure, it's going to be the actual conference brochure. I pulled up the wrong one by mistake. Apologies for that. I have to search for it again. I believe it's going to be, let me see. Okay, it's going to be in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe it's the 8th whereas clause. It's the one that's published brochure.pdf. On the, let's see, on the 4th page, you can see it's the time slots at 9:55 a.m. creating your ticket/slate plus campaign team presented by Colby Brandt. And then I believe there's another one, the one right after, 10:15, slates worksheet led by, once again, Colby Brandt. And so I just like to highlight that, and also the fact that I can confirm through my own ticketing information, if anybody wants to see that if they ask, and that he did indeed, well, those two people that he did recruit per statements from both people themselves, that they did indeed head to this conference where he was indeed leading the event, some events.
Vice Speaker Hartley.
I think for the sake of brevity, I would like to read the entire article out loud to everybody because I feel like for comprehension's sake, that is much more helpful than just simply reading off our computers. Article 4, Abuse of the Office of the President. Article 3, Section A, Clause 5 of the Student Government Constitution requires the President to be responsible for the effective administration of government offices and office staff. President Brandt, in his actions, has abused the office of the President for personal gain and prevented the fair, effective administration of the government. The integrity of the function of the government depends on the President exercising them free from external influences. The evidence before the Senate establishes that President Brandt accepted his recruiter role, his travel and accommodations, and his speaking engagements with the Campus Victory Project, not despite his office, but because of it, in addition to engaging in other such conduct. When the authority of presidency is used as a prerequisite for accepting benefits from an organization seeking to influence that same office, the integrity of government is compromised. The Senate finds that President Brandt has allowed the office of the President to be used in a manner that undermines the independent and impartial administration of that the Constitution requires. Be it therefore enacted that Article 4 of impeachment is adopted and effective immediately and proposed to the Supreme Court's impeachment court alongside 2 selected Senate representatives. I feel like the article does a good job of explaining itself, and obviously we can further the conversation, but I feel like this document seems to be very well prepared for this.
Senator Lima Barbosa.
Can someone clarify how can the involvement affect the government to be effective? Sorry, this was worded weird. I can reword it again. Okay, so it says, has abuse of the office of the President for personal gain and prevented the fair, effective administration. Under the fair, I understand. I don't understand how this can affect the administration to be effective. Does that make sense now?
Speaker Persley.
Okay, so this language says the President is responsible for the effective administration of government offices and office staff. I don't necessarily know if the involvement and abuses has to do with the administration of the offices and staff. We can see that the staff and the cabinet have done pretty well this year, and they've gotten a lot of goals accomplished. The only part where I see that being an issue is bringing members of the cabinet into the Campus Victory Project and continuing that agenda. But otherwise, I don't think it has much to do with the administration of the government offices and office staff.
Senator Grafe.
I kind of want to build off that point. Also, how much time do I have left? Oh, awesome. Okay, sorry. That was the clarification I needed. Thank you.
I think it is important to also discuss that other representatives were there. We know this. But they were non-paid. And they showed up as their position in this organization more as a resume builder rather than as their whole job and being paid to do so. So rather, I think that is more designated as a personal political exercise, but yet again, I want to hear everyone's insight on that, and I would love for us to build upon that point. Thank you.
Senator Lima Barbosa.
Okay, this might be small, but I will say that I disagree with the word effective. I agree with fair and the personal gain. I don't think the word effective is fair. There is no real proof that this affected the year we had. I think this also puts the work of the cabinet on the spot because it was effective. So far, his role as a president has been effective. He has done his job. Clearly, we're discussing some issues in the execution of it, but I think the word effective here, maybe for me, speaks loud. Maybe for other people, it does not. But I don't think the word effective is appropriate in this.
Vice Speaker Hartley.
Point of clarification, there's nothing that keeps us from amending these articles. We do not have to keep them simply as they are. We are able to amend them as we see fit as a body.
Senator Kikun.
Okay, I would like to go back to Article 4. I'll just read the first two paragraphs. Article 3, Section A, Clause 5 of the Student Constitution, wherever, the President will be responsible for effective administration of government office and staff. That's not where I'm pointing at. President Brandt, in his action, has abused the office of the President for personal gain and prevented fair. Please, you should take that into consideration. Fair and effective, also, administration of the government. That's just the first paragraph. We'll stop there. I would like to point you to the second whereas clause. We'll go back to the brochure. Now, if there is an allege, and I mentioned allege, kind of, I may also want to use the word collaboration or link between Kobe or whoever with the state organization. I would like to read the first paragraph of the vision of this organization, because for me, that's even more critical, and we've already pointed that out clearly here, that it's more towards us being effective in representing our constituents fairly. So I read the first paragraph, our vision. Campus Victory Project was born from years of experience working with student government associations across the nation. Most SGAs have been controlled by the left, so I don't know how that would be fair. For decades, institutionalizing campus messaging and earmarking hundreds of millions of dollars of student fee for intentionally pushing coordinated radical progressive agenda, which has dramatically increased since whatever year. So, occupying the office of the president and being in coordination with a different agenda, I don't see how that is so fair. I don't see how that would lead you to be very effective in your position, because it shows clearly, just basically, like, what do you actually represent? What are the agendas you actually have in mind or to push? So that's why I always go back to this. For me, that's actually at the point of it, which I would personally need a bit of clarification to guide my decision.
Senator Daman.
So back to the front with the fair, effective administration of the government. I think that had Colby not brought members of his cabinet with him and recruited them to come to this retreat, then this article could not be true. But he did. I think that contributes to the lack of having a fair, effective administration of the government by him.
It's been called to question and seconded. Are there any objections? We'll move forward with a roll call vote on Article 4. Ina Dimhoff. Grafe. Jones. Utica. Miller. Cocoon. Dahmen. Corshi. Bailey. Hartley. Margaret. Nundall. Pursley. Neal. Kuzi. Gardy. Saini. Graybill. Bernal. Valenzuela. Lima Barbosa. Valley. Cernaski. One more time. Martins. Fliggy. Kabir. Marcus. Iona Dimhoff. Jones. Neal. Lima Barbosa. With a vote of 20 to 4 to 3, it passes. We will now move to Article 5, failure to serve the interests of the student body. I'll open the floor for discussion. Vice Speaker Hartley.
I'm just go ahead and read this before we start our discussion. Article 5, failure to serve the interests of the student body. Per the preamble of the Constitution, the government shall operate in order to best serve the interests of the student body. In his actions, President Colby Brandt has defaulted in his duty to operate the government in such a manner. President Brandt entered into a formal role with an external political organization that openly seeks to control student government offices. He accepted various benefits from that organization tied to his holding of the presidency. He attended an organization retreat designed to train affiliated candidates for student government campaigns. He made public appearances on behalf of that organization before legislative audiences, all while serving as the elected head of Iowa State University student government, in addition to engaging in other such conduct. President Colby Brandt's conduct reflects a sustained pattern of engagement with an external organization whose interests are, by its own description, incompatible with the independent governance of the student body. The Senate finds that President Brandt has not governed in a manner consistent with the constitutional mandate to best serve the interests of the student body of Iowa State University. Be it therefore enacted that Article 5 of impeachment is adopted, effective immediately, and proposed to the Supreme Court's impeachment court along 2 selected Senate representatives.
It's been called to question and seconded. Are there any objections? We'll now move forward with a roll call vote on Article 5. Iona Dimhoff. Grafe. Jones. Utica. Miller. Cocoon. Dahmen. Corshi. Bailey. Hartley. Margaret. Nandal. Pursley. Neal. Kuzi. Gardy. Saini. Graybill. Bernal. Valenzuela. Lima Barbosa. Valley. Cernaski. Martins. Fliggy. Kabir. Marcus. Jones. Miller. With a vote of 24 to 0 to 3, the article passes. We'll now move to Article 6, violation of the Student Code of Conduct. I'll open the floor for discussion. Vice Speaker Hartley.
I'm just going to continue this because I think that everybody is okay with that. Article 6, violation of the Student Code of Conduct. Article blank, Section B, Clause 2 of the Student Government Constitution obligates the government to willingly abide with Iowa State University policies, state and federal law, and follow local ordinances and regulations. The Dean of Students' Student Code of Conduct, which governs all members of the university community, prohibits offering or soliciting a bribe or favor to any student, employee, or faculty member in an attempt to influence a decision or action. The evidence before the Senate establishes that President Brandt accepted all expense-paid travel, lodging, and meals from the Campus Victory Project in connection with his attendance at a prospective leadership retreat and participation in speaking engagements, in addition to engaging in other such conduct. These benefits were extended to him because of his role as student body president and his participation in the organization's activities. The Senate finds that President Brandt has not governed in a manner consistent with the constitutional mandate to abide by Student Code of Conduct of Iowa State University. Be it therefore enacted that Article 6 of impeachment is adopted effective immediately and proposed to the Supreme Court's impeachment court alongside 2 selected Senate representatives.
Senator Bernal.
Of course, I want to continue discussion, but it's sometimes kind of hard to stop beating a dead horse with like the certain things we keep on mentioning. But I mean, once again, I believe President Brandt's involvement with these organizations, how he was paid for these events, and how he also paid others could, I believe, I mean, this could be my personal opinion. I don't know how you would interpret the definition of a bribe, but in my opinion, I see it as a bribe influencing other members of the cabinet to come and go to these events. And so, I mean, I believe I mean, of course, I think that what the impeachment article is saying, I see it as proper. I believe the actions he has committed, once again, go against representing the will of all students and would also be considered a bribe. And so that's all I have to say.
Speaker Pursley.
Although I think that the actions were unethical, I do not think that there is enough evidence for this to be called a bribe. Being paid by your employer is not bribery, even if your employer is up to unethical things. We don't have evidence that Colby was paid money for winning student body president. We don't have evidence that he was given money in his campaign to be student body president. There is no evidence for that. And for that reason, I can't say yes to this article.
Senator Neal.
I personally am slightly conflicted on this article. I agree with Speaker Persley that there's no evidence, in my opinion, that President Brandt accepted any sort of bribe or favor as a result of gaining the position of student body president. However, a part of me does question the recruitment of cabinet members and other students to attend these conferences with the idea of, once in office, pushing a partisan agenda. I believe that is unethical and is something to take into consideration when considering this article.
Vice Speaker Hartley? Or, no, Senator Martins.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, was this the first time that President Brandt was involved with Campus Victory Project, or kind of what's the timeline? How long has he been supposedly in contact or employed? If anyone knows.
Senator Dundal?
I mean, I can concretely say that he was involved at this one time. I do not have any evidence of prior involvement to this. I can allege, but I do not have evidence for it.
Great, thank you.
Vice Speaker Hartley?
It's my interpretation of this article specifically that we are referring to Colby specifically as a person who accepted a bribery, which I do not know that happened. I don't have any evidence of that. But what you said was that your interpretation was in reference to the cabinet members and the supposed alleged bribery in that sense. It would be, in my opinion, that would have to be a different article, or this would have to be written in a completely different way for that to be how I would interpret this to be meaning.
Senator Bernal?
Maybe it's the way I'm interpreting the Students' Code of Conduct, because it says it prohibits offering or soliciting a bribe to any student, employee, or faculty member. I interpreted that as a manner of the president himself offering this like paid, well, I don't know if it was all expenses paid, but to multiple individuals to come to the event itself. However, I may be misreading this, and I would enjoy to get further clarification.
Senator Graybill?
I just wanted to agree with Senator Bernal. That's how I interpreted it as well. Looking at university, all members of the university community, so him being one of them, especially as student body president, and then them offering or soliciting a bribe. And even though it's not like an outright, I'll give you this for this, it's implied with the nature of that interaction. Come to this retreat with us, and this is the office that you could potentially hold. That's how I'm interpreting it, at least.
Senator Utica?
So for clarification, can you tell us like what this Article 6 is about? Is it him accepting bribe or him giving bribe?
The second paragraph of Article 6 established that it is about accepting all paid expenses trips and accepting bribes instead of giving them.
Senator Jones?
I'm going to echo what Speaker Persley said. I don't think there's enough evidence of taking bribes or giving bribes. For me to vote yes on this would to see physical evidence, and right now I'm not seeing enough evidence for me to vote yes.
Senator Marcus?
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a response just to what Senator Bernal and Senator Graybill were saying. I agree with your guys' interpretation of it. I believe that it is offering or soliciting a bribes, you know. I do agree with that, but I'm going to echo what a lot of other members have said, and I'm going to say that there is not enough sufficient evidence, at least for me personally, to vote in favor of sending this one to the court, because there is evidence in this document, but there's not enough to say that a bribe was offered or a bribe was received to influence a decision or action. I wouldn't consider asking someone to come to a conference or come see a different viewpoint as a bribe to influence a decision or action. I yield.
Senator Iona Dimhoff.
I believe that in order to follow Bernal's interpretation of this article, I think it's really important for us to understand how the invite was proposed to the Iowa State student attendees from President Brandt. I don't want to put them on the spot at all, but if they would like to share how that invite was proposed to them, I yield time. And if not, I just yield time to the floor.
So to clarify, you just want to know how I was asked to attend the conference?
Yeah, just how was it proposed to you? I think that would give us a better understanding whether or not we should interpret it as a bribe or just as an offer.
No, it was proposed as a nonpartisan educational event that focused on young student leaders. So there were students from all different campuses, all different perspectives, all different schools, all different backgrounds at this event.
Thank you so much. I didn't want to put you on the spot. I just wanted to open up just in general for anyone to speak on. So thank you.
Senator Lima Barbosa.
Okay, this is probably a silly question again, but besides our Constitution, do we know that in the role of student body president, did he sign anything saying that this is not gonna happen, or is just what's written by the Constitution? About not accepting bribes or favor, is this just what's in the student government Constitution, or is it something he had to sign to accept his role as president? It's just really lack of information of mine.
Point of information, this is from the Dean of Students Student Code of Conduct, and in the Constitution, the government must willingly abide with Iowa State University policies.
Senator Bernal.
I'm trying to look for something, but I can't find it right now. If I find it before we're voting, I'll ask again, but I yield my time.
Senator Grafe.
I vote to amend the second sentence in the second paragraph from these benefits were extended to him because of his role as student body president and his participation in the organization's activities to, in addition, bribing other representatives to follow the external organization's agenda through an all-expense trip. Since that's something we all agree on, obviously you can still vote no, you can still vote yes, but I think that would just be important.
Can you add that in as a comment so I can repeat the amendment back to the group?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
You're typing it up?
For clarification, is that in place of the highlighted sentence or following the highlighted sentence? So you'll see under Article 6 in the second paragraph, the amendment is to strike these benefits were extended to him because of his role as student body president and his participation in the organization's activities, and replace it with, in addition, bribing other representatives to follow the external organization's agenda through an all-expense trip. It's been seconded. Are there any objections?
I would like to change in addition to be such as, just to make it more grammatically correct.
Can you add that to the comment? There is a motion to amend to add to the beginning such as, comma, before bribing other representatives to follow the external organization's agenda through an all-expense trip. Is there a second? Are there any objections? The floor is open. It's been called to question and seconded. Are there any objections? We'll move forward with a roll call vote. Iona Dimhoff. Grafe. Jones. Utica. Miller. Kikun. Daman. Corshi. Bailey. Hartley. Margaret. Nandal. Pursley. Neal. Kuzi. Gardy. Saini. Graybell. Bernal. Valenzuela. Lima Barbosa. Valley. Cernaski. Martins. Fliggy. Kabir. Marcus. The article as a whole. Martins. With a vote of 2 to 18 to 7, the article does not pass. We will now move to Article 7, violation of the university conflicts of interest policy. I'll open the floor for debate. Vice Speaker Hartley.
All right, this is the last article, and I'm just going to read it out for everybody. Article 7, violation of the university conflict of interest policy. As per Article 1, Section B, Clause 2, the government shall, through law and action, willingly abide with Iowa State policies or Iowa State University policies, state and federal law, and follow local ordinances and regulations. Additionally, per Iowa State University's conflict of interest and commitment policy, all personnel must conscientiously guard against possible adverse effects of their activities on the performance of their university duties and the reputation of the university. President Brandt accepted a formal role with an external organization, is bound by a non-disclosure agreement in connection with that role, accepted travel and other benefits from that organization, and engaged in other such conduct, all while serving as the elected president of the Iowa State University student government. He has not disclosed those arrangements to the Senate or to the student body. The failure to disclose and guard against these conflicts in a role as consequential as a student body president is precisely the conduct the university conflict policy is designed to prevent. The Senate finds that President Brandt has not complied with his obligations under this policy, be it therefore enacted, that Article 7 of impeachment is adopted effective immediately and proposed to the Supreme Court's impeachment court alongside 2 selected Senate representatives.
It's been called to question. Is there a second? Do you withdraw your motion? Speaker Pursley.
Okay, everyone. We have passed 5 strong articles so far, but I do not believe this should be one of them. It is under my knowledge, I believe that this conflicts of interest and commitment policy is written for university faculty and staff, not for student members of student organizations. And therefore, I think we should put our focus onto our strong arguments and not waste the court's time with one that we don't have enough evidence for.
Senator Bernal.
I was going to ask if he would fall under the, university employees thing, but thank you for clarifying. I yield my time.
It's been called to question and seconded. Are there any objections? We'll move forward with a roll call vote. Iono Dimhoff? No. Grafe? No. Jones? No. Utica? No. Miller? Cocoon? No. Dahman? No. Corsi? No. Bailey? No. Hartley? No. Margaret? Yes. Nandal? No. Pursley? No. Neal? Kuzi? Gardy? Saney? Graybill? Bernal? Valenzuela? Lima Barbosa? Valley? Srinaski? Martins? Fliggy? Kabir? Marcus? With a vote of 1 to 18 to 8, the article fails. Speaker Pursley.
I motion for a 5-minute recess.
There's been a motion for a 5-minute recess. It's been seconded. Are there any objections? We will return back at 8:22. We will be beginning in about 30 seconds. I call this meeting of the Iowa State Student Government Senate back to order at 8:24 p.m. We will now move to 2026-3-001 SL, election of impeachment managers with Senator Nandal.
Okay, so with the articles of impeachment passing, it is in our bylaws that we need to elect two senators as impeachment managers, which they will be representing the Senate in this. This will be a floor election, so if you would like to nominate anyone, this will be the time to.
So how we're going to move forward and do this is similar to the vice speaker or speaker election, similar to that. We will open nominations for the two positions. As many people can nominate themselves as they please, or you can nominate somebody else. They can either accept or decline. Once everyone's accepted or declined and there is a motion to end nominations, we will move and each candidate will have a 5-minute introduction in the order in which they were nominated. Then we will move into a regular debate period of questioning. Each senator will be allowed one question per speaking privilege, and you'll have 2 speaking privileges, and the candidate will have 1 minute to respond. The candidates will then leave the room. There will be another 45 minutes of a clarification phase where senators can discuss among themselves. Each candidate will come back in and give a 2-minute closing, and then it takes a majority vote to get the candidate's name on the bill. Speaker Persley.
Motion to remove Senator Gardy from the roll. Second. And then as well, I nominate Senator Grafe.
Hold on 1 second here. I'm just getting organized. Senator Gardy left, is that right? Speaker Percy, could you repeat who you nominated?
I nominate Senator Grafe.
And she accepted. All right. Senator Dahman.
I nominate Senator Margaret.
Do you accept? Senator Bernal, do you accept? Senator Lima Barbosa.
I nominate Senator Graybill.
Senator Graybill, do you accept? Senator Auna Dimhoff.
I nominate Senator Nandal.
Senator Nandal declined. Are there any further nominations or a motion to Vice Speaker Hartley?
I nominate Senator Jones.
Senator Jones, do you accept?
I respectfully decline.
Senator Dahman.
I nominate Senator Kekun.
Senator Kekun, do you accept the nomination?
I respectfully decline. Okay, I nominate Neil. Yes.
Senator Neal, do you accept? Can you use your microphone?
I accept.
There are no further nominations. Senator Jones.
I nominate Senator Bailey.
Senator Bailey, do you accept the nomination?
I decline.
There are no further nominations. Is there a motion to close the floor to nominations? It's been moved and seconded. Are there any objections? All right, Senator Grafe, Senator Bernal, and Senator Neal. You will now each have a 5-minute opening introduction. I'll tap the gavel if you exceed that time limit. Are there any questions? You may all approach the lectern. Senator Grafe, you will go first.
Hi, everyone. I've spoken a lot tonight, and I'm sorry if it was too much, or I know we've been here a long time, and I'm also sorry for that. But this is kind of going to be exactly what I said. I think politics has no place in student government. George Washington said, I'm saying the same quote I said earlier, but he wanted no place for politics in the federal government. And I think the beauty of student government is that we don't have those. Sure, we represent our constituents, and our constituents have different goals and ideologies, but they're not necessarily too controversial, and they're not too much. We see that there's too much delay in all of the other levels of our government operation, and the way that we're so powerful is the fact that there isn't that delay, and we are cooperative together, and we have that discussion. But the thing that muddies that water is politics, and bringing our own ideologies to the table rather than our constituents. So that's all I will say. If you like my opinion, I will gladly serve as the impeachment chair. I don't know what the official title is, but thank you.
Am I good to go then? Well, hello everyone. I wasn't fully expecting this, but I will gladly state my case. So I know it may be weird. I've only been in student government since the middle of October, but since then I have fully delved deep and engaged myself with the various functions and activities of student government. Probably since last semester, I've been involved in rules. I have gone over the Constitution. I've gone over the bylaws. I've gone over the election code in my own time as well. I believe, as Senator Grafe also once said, politics deserves no part in our student government, no partisan bias at all. I've also learned this through my time, well, albeit short time, as a legislative ambassador. I'll admit it here, I do personally on politics disagree with members of the Iowa State Legislature. However, that does not stop me from advocating for our nonpartisan beliefs that the legislative ambassadors are putting forward to improve the lives of every single student here at Iowa State. That is what we should have, nonpartisan priorities for our students. How can we represent our students at Iowa State if the president is engaging in a partisan organization? There have been multiple members of my constituencies who have came to me and expressed their concerns that their opinions might be washed away because the president is of the opposite political belief or may not agree with their politics. I just want to keep it nice and simple. Once again, what Senator Grafe said, politics has no part in student government. We need to ensure that the case is represented properly and goes through the right channels and all the evidence is presented.
Senator Neal.
Hi, everyone. I know we've already been here for a long time tonight, and I take no particular joy standing in front of you right now and us going through this process, but I think it's important that when we see evidence of something that goes against our bylaws and our Constitution that we take action, and so I commend all of you for taking the time to sit here and go through this process. I do have a personal opinion about the matter of the articles of impeachment, which I expressed during the debate, but I think what is important in this position is not my personal opinion. It's looking at the facts and evidence that we as a Senate have decided are strong enough to bring in front of the Supreme Court. And if put in this position, that is exactly and all that I will do. We have agreed of the violations that we believe have happened, and we need to present those to the Supreme Court as we have decided upon them, as they are written in the articles that we just passed. I believe that partisan politics has no place in student government, no matter what side they are from. It is troubling to have potentially an administration that is letting partisan politics get in the way of representing students. My constituents are concerned. Many of your constituents are concerned. Let's bring those concerns to the Supreme Court. I would be honored to be that representative in order to help make sure that we are doing our due diligence and making sure that student government is exactly what it says it is and representative of all students on Iowa State campus. That's all.
We will now move into a 45-minute questioning period. You can ask one question per speaking privilege, and you have 2 speaking privileges. You can ask a question to an individual candidate. You can ask a question to all of the candidates. Just make sure you clarify which one you're choosing. Are there any questions before we begin? Senator Marcus.
Just quickly before the questioning phase, is it possible to get like a brief outline of what the 2 elected people will be expected to do? Like what their duties will be? Are they just going to present facts, or are they arguing on Senate's behalf? What entirely is that?
Yes, these 2 people will argue on Senate's behalf. They will present the evidence from Senate's point of view in the articles of impeachment, and they will argue on our behalf.
Okay. Senator Kekun.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Speaker, for clarifying that, because my question was to Senator Bernal. I think you are most likely to serve as one of the witnesses in this, because from the first article, I think you mentioned some things in which you were personally involved. So I think I wanted to ask how would you ensure you're neutral, and won't it result in a case where maybe you have to recuse yourself or something like that? But if there will be the one presenting the case of the Senate before the judiciary, then I think maybe that's inconsequential.
I have a minute, right?
1 minute to answer, correct.
Okay, so I'm not 100% sure how the impeachment process, working as one. However, I would either have one of the other elected representatives either present that specific evidence by themselves, because there is a clear-cut evidence of what happened. On my Gmail, I have a screenshot of my flight number. It matches the same one. All the evidence is going to be entirely impartial. If I need to recuse myself during that one moment, I would 100% will. If I don't have to, I'm just going to lay the facts straight on the table. I was on a flight sitting next to 2 members of the executive who were invited by the president to this event, and I have both the text message and the email to confirm the flight numbers with what is provided on the document.
If I may respond to that, because
it's just one question per speaking privilege.
I'm responding to the question, his answer to the question.
Okay, go ahead and respond.
Okay, so how most of this work is like you have a personal skin in this, like you are involved, you are a witness or something. So usually you may not be qualified to serve as a prosecutor in that case, depending, but someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but it could lead to situations where you may have to step aside. So that could be a concern. But aside from that, I think I have no issue.
Senator Lima Barbosa.
Okay, this is a question for the Speaker of Senate, sorry. How long would this process last?
That's a better question for the court.
I'm not entirely sure, but it really depends on a case-by-case basis. Any information that has occurred tonight needs to be notified to us within the next 24 hours, and then we will decide what happened, or not what happens, but we will decide a hearing, and that has to occur within the next 7 days of the initial response. So following like when we schedule the date and the evidence presented and like gathering everything, it shouldn't take too long, I guess. It really just depends on like timing. Yeah, I would say around like 2 weeks.
Senator Jones. Senator Marcus.
I'm going to say it is hard to think of a question here, because it is going to be hard to choose just two of the three of you. So my question to all of you is going to be, what do you think, just one thing, name one thing that you think makes you best able to advocate on behalf of Senate in this hearing?
We'll go in the order that the candidates were nominated. So first with Grafe, then Bernal, then Neal.
So my job on campus is actually for the Center for Cyclone Civics, which is a nonpartisan organization. So I'm media trained to be nonpartisan. I tabled to register people to vote, and I remained nonpartisan even when they showed me what party they were a part of, and asked me questions about their party. I still remained nonpartisan. In addition, I've kind of fell in love with student government. I feel very fortunate that this opportunity fell in my lap, and I've curated such friendships, and I know all of your opinions and interests, and I think I can best represent those. So yeah.
Senator Bernal.
I'll slightly rehash what I said during my opening statement. I believe my handful of months working in and with Rules Committee has me prepared to take on this, of course, monumentous, but however you pronounce it, I don't know, this large task at hand. I've thoroughly, once again, I said I've gone through the Constitution. I'm once again rereading my way through the bylaws, since we're going to go over those soon, and also on my own time read the election code. And so I believe my experience with rules and how they are applied at times, such as it's going to be in the upcoming 5 articles, I believe that is my greatest strength, and I want to be able to use these months of experience to properly represent the Senate in this case.
Senator Neal.
Yeah, this is my second term serving as a senator for student government. I'm very familiar with the Constitution and bylaws, and would obviously reread them and make sure I was very sure of everything before going into this situation. I also do political science research, which includes qualitative interviews with people of various political backgrounds, which requires me to be nonpartisan and look strictly at facts and information and not feelings and beliefs. I also have a lot of experience just with student government in general, public speaking and debate, which I think would be helpful in bringing a case in front of the Supreme Court.
Senator Lima Barbosa. There's been a motion to end the questioning phase. Is there a second? Are there any objections? All right, we'll ask all 3 candidates to leave the room, and we'll enter the clarification phase. This will be 45 minutes for senators to talk amongst themselves. It follows the normal rules of debate. Are there any questions before we begin? Speaker Persley.
I think all 3 candidates would represent the Senate very well. I would like for at least one of our representatives to be a member of the Rules Committee. I think that would be really helpful, just because the Rules Committee demonstrates their knowledge of the Constitution and the bylaws every week. We've been working on the Constitution for months now, and we know it like the back of our hands. And so that's why I will put my weight behind Senator Bernal, because he is a strong member of Rules Committee and he knows the rules well.
Vice Speaker Hartley.
I guess I'm kind of going to directly echo exactly what Speaker Persley just said. I think that I would applaud these three people for accepting this nomination. It's a serious task. It's an emotional task. We have known this person for quite some time, and I understand that each of them have put aside their own political beliefs and their own personal opinions for this role, and I feel confident in all three of their abilities to do so, but I would agree with Speaker Persley in that a member of the Rules Committee being on this would be a nice addition to entrusting all of our senators with this. Will echo again, we have been working on the Constitution for quite some time, and I do have faith in Senator Bernal's understanding.
Senator Utica.
I would like to say that the three candidates are very good, but I would also like to align my view with what Kekun said. I think we would want someone who is not personally involved in this case, so we would actually need someone that is that has a balanced view of both what the Senate wants, and not probably due to a personal issue or probably a personal bias. So I would like to support O'Neill and Gary for this case. Thank you.
Senator Jones.
I am going to echo what Senator Utica said. I think having Senator Bernal on the committee is a little too close. He has personal experience, and I think not that he would purposely have bias or would implement his personal experience into representing Senate, but I do think he's a little too close to the matters at hand to represent all of us. So he's a great person. I think all three are great candidates, but unfortunately, in my opinion, I think he's a little too close to the matters at hand.
Senator Lima Barbosa.
I agree with what was said about Bernal by Samantha Jones and Senator Utica. I also want to say that I think Neil and Grave are extremely reasonable people and very passionate. I've worked closely with Senator Grave. When she puts something in her mind, she will treat that with the uppermost respect and passion. That's what she has been doing for sustainability, and I think she's a big pillar of the committee, and I think she's very good at her job, so I will advocate for her. I think she is something that we need in this. Besides that, every conversation that I have with Senator Neal, she was extremely respectful, kind, and gentle and thoughtful with her words, and I think in this matter, this is a key qualities that we're looking for a candidate. Yeah.
Senator Kuzi.
Hello, I would just like to hear the policy or the procedure for calling witnesses to see a better understanding of what that might look like in case somebody in this room or outside of this room is involved, has conscious knowledge, non-conscious knowledge of all of the discussion.
Would you like to yield your time to the Supreme Court?
Absolutely. And no rush either.
Okay, so a list of witnesses to be called and evidence shall be submitted with the brief of arguments, which will happen during a pretrial conference. So yeah, the list will be approved by the Chief Justice, so me, and the party shall be responsible for notifying the witnesses of them taking the stand. So the people that will be at the pretrial conference will be the plaintiff and the defendant, and I'll have a meeting with them to provide all of their expectations of what the court would look like, and during that time is when they should provide their list of witnesses.
And then if somebody was a witness, for example, Senator Bernal, in his experience that he shared, would you approve him for the witness list?
Probably not.
Thank you.
Senator Iona Dimhoff. Senator Marcus.
I'm going to say kind of what I said a little bit earlier. I think any combination of two of these three candidates would be great. I'm going to personally back Senator Neal because I do know that she does have a fairly good understanding of the bylaws. I also know that when it comes to a lot of things, she will very carefully think before she speaks, so she is going to stick to the facts, and I think that is going to be very important here. I think that all of the candidates would do a great job, but I think specifically that Senator Neal is going to have my backing just because I have seen the knowledge that she possesses, and she has helped me when I first joined student government with a few rules questions I had.
Senator Dahman.
So I don't think that Bain being, having seen them on the plane and sitting next to them should necessarily disqualify him from being one of the impeachment managers, because that's why we would have two. So if for that part of the evidence, he could just recuse himself and the other could present that evidence, and it wouldn't be conflicting for him. And I also agree that we should have a member of the Rules Committee there, as they know the Constitution the best, and Senator Bernal is the only member of Rules there.
Senator Stranaski.
I think all three of these candidates would be excellent for the role, but I think I would like to echo Senator Marcus's thoughts. I think Senator Neal did a really good job thinking really critically about each and every word that was written tonight, and so I think I'm going to back her.
Senator Kikun.
Yeah, okay, I just want to respond to Senator Dahman's comment. I think you're actually right to say that, but how actually this work, it could be possible to keep an evidence aside or so, but we already heard from the Supreme Court, so it's not to beat this more, that probably not to approve it. And someone could bring up that, okay, he has stood there before Senate to mention this fact while reading the articles as basis for them to actually get him disqualified from that role. Yeah.
Senator Iona Dimhoff.
To echo at what Senator Dahman mentioned earlier, Senator Bernal does not necessarily have to accept the witness position. He even said during debate when we were on the articles that he personally dismissed the text message chain that mentioned him. He didn't see that being qualified enough to find the president guilty of that specific article. So I think that kind of shows that he already takes himself out of this entire process, which I thought was great to see. So I just wanted to bring that up, that he doesn't necessarily have to accept the witness position.
Senator Margaret.
Hey everyone, just to chime in a little bit on this, I kind of want to push back a little bit on the idea that I've kind of heard going around in different parts of this, which is that impartiality is really the job of our impeachment managers here. Impartiality in this case is the job of the court, right? So the court's the one that's weighing the evidence, making these measured decisions. You have the president, who will obviously be a fierce advocate that there was no wrongdoing. You want a fierce litigant on our side as well, on the Senate side. And so I think having a tie make Senator Bernal a good adverse litigant as opposed to disqualifying him. And even if it was a situation where he wasn't able to serve as a witness for that part, I don't think that really weakens the case to any degree. And so I think Senator Bernal has a good balance, and just kind of speaking on his behalf, that He knows what's going on, he has good rules experience, and he'll do this very well in a fair and reasonable way. But I do think he is that adverse litigant you want, because impartiality is not solely the job of the impeachment managers, that's the role of the court.
Senator Kikun?
Yeah, I agree with you on that first point, Margaret, that it's not about impartiality, because we want someone to present our case for what we voted for. But what we voted for, we have one of our representatives have mentioned before this Senate evidence backing one of the articles as a witness admitting himself that he was that person. I think that's a substantial reason for him not to be accepted as a witness or as a representative in that case because of personal involvement. So that could be substantial ground. Yeah.
There's been a motion to end the clarification phase. It's been seconded. Are there any objections? All right, we'll now move to the 2-minute closing statements for each candidate. Somebody would be able to step out in the hallway and ask them to come in. That'd be great. All right, so each candidate will have 2 minutes for a closing statement. Go in the order you were nominated, starting with Senator Grafe.
For the sake of your time, I've said all I wanted to say. I respect all of you, and I am fine with either two of these people also being it. I'm not in this for any political gain or any resume builder. I'm just in this because you wanted me to be. And I will gladly do it if you think it's best. So, thank you.
Senator Bernal.
I'm going to kind of rehash the statement once again that Senator Graves said. I think either of them two would be also amazing people to serve. I think that all of us demonstrate amazing qualities, and I will be able to represent the Senate well. I really don't know what to say other than, once again, politics don't belong in student government. I believe we should strive and tell all our constituents through this that student government is open to everyone, it's inclusive, it's diverse, and we will not allow outside partisan influence to influence any business of student government. Thank you.
Senator Neal.
You're going to hear very similar statements from me. I think either of my fellow nominees would do a good job of presenting this evidence to the Supreme Court. I appreciate just the trust and confidence in being nominated for this position. And if so, elected into this position, I will present the evidence that we have decided on as a Senate to the best of my ability to the Supreme Court and do my best to more than adequately represent our argument as we go through this case. Thank you.
All right, so how we will vote, I'll move through the list like normal, and you will say the senator's name in which you would like to vote for. So, and then we'll do it again for the second name. Senator Dahman?
So it's one name first, and then we go
Yep.
again to a second name?
Yep, so we'll go through, and for example, I'll say Senator Dahman. You'll either say Grafe, Bernal, or Neal. And then the candidate that reaches the majority or higher, their name will be put on the bill, and then we'll do it again for the next name. Are there any questions before we begin? Senator Utica. What's that? A placard vote. Is that roll call? Okay. Senator Chernaski.
Do the votes reset after the first round?
Yes, yeah. Because one candidate's name will not be eligible to vote for because their name will already be on the bill.
Thank you.
Just want to make sure this makes 100% sense before we begin. Senator Kuzi.
Is there an abstention?
No, you have to, I mean, yes, you could
Okay.
abstain. If you would like to. Okay. Any more questions before we begin? So again, Grafe, Bernal, or Neal? Okay. Senator Iona Dimhoff. Grafe? Jones? Utica? Miller? Kikun? Daman? Corshi? One more time? Sorry, I can't hear you. Grafe? Bailey? Hartley? Margaret? Nandal? Persley? Neal? Kuzi? Saini? Graybell? Bernal? Valenzuela? Lima Barbosa? Valley? Cernaski? Martins? Fliggy? Kabir? Marcus? Yes, there are a couple people that want to move down. Okay. All right. Hartley? I don't believe we missed anybody else. Miller? No candidate reached a majority. It was Neal with 10, Bernal with 3, Grafe with 9. So we'll remove the candidate with the lowest votes and vote again. And we would put the first person on and then the second person. Okay. So we've got to put one name on and then put another name on. So this should be fairly straightforward, okay? So we'll vote again. if you want. Vice Speaker Hartley is going to explain how we're going to move through the rest of this.
Okay, so because none of our three candidates received majority of voting senators right now, we are going to go to the two candidates with the most votes, which would be Senator Neal and Senator Grafe, and vote between the two of them. We put the person who wins majority of that on our bill. Then we go back to the loser between the two and Senator Bernal and vote between those two people, and then that would be the second name on the bill. Sorry. And then the bill as a whole requires 2/3 of us to vote on together.
Senator Chernesky.
So the amount of votes were 10, 9, and 3. If we eliminate the 3, that means that there's a really solid chance that we're going to tie. What do we do in the event of a tie?
In the event of a tie, we vote again. Or never mind, I break the tie. But, Senator Jones. 10 o'clock. And so we need to be out here at 10 o'clock. So we've got 55 minutes. Senator Miller.
Can I motion to just amend the bill to just include the two?
No. Okay, so again, we're going to vote again, and you have the choice between Grafe or Neal. Are there any questions? All right, we'll begin. Iona Dimhoff. Grafe.
Abstain.
Jones. Utica. Miller. Kikun. Daman. Corshi. Bailey. Hartley. Margaret. Nandal. Pursley. Neal.
Abstain.
Kuzi.
Abstain.
Saini. Graybell. Bernal.
Abstain.
Valenzuela. Lima Barbosa. Valley. Cernaski. Martins. Fliggy. Kabir. Marcus. With 13 votes for Grafe and 9 votes for Neal, Grafe's name will be placed on the ballot, and we'll vote again for the second name. It doesn't go against anything specific. There is a majority. Grafe's name will be placed on the bill. We will now vote between Bernal and Neal. Okay. Are there any questions before we begin? Between Bernal and Neal. Iona Dimhoff. Grafe. Jones. Utica. Miller. Kikun. Daman. Corshi. Bailey. Hartley. Margaret. Nandal. Pursley. Neil? Kuzi? Saini? Graybill? Bernal?
Abstain.
Valenzuela? Lima Barbosa? Valley? Cernaski? Martins? Fliggy? Kabir? Marcus? Margaret? Cernaski? Bernal received 12 votes, Neal received 10 votes. Bernal's name will be put on the bill. We will now move to vote on the bill as a whole. Unanimous consent has been called for. Is there? Roll call has been called for. Okay. Move forward with roll call. This time it's either yes, no, or abstain. Iona Dimhoff. Yes. Grafe. Yes. Jones. Yes. Utica. Yes. Miller. Yes. Cocoon. Yes. Daman. Yes. Corshi. Yes. Bailey. Yes. Hartley. Yes. Margaret. Yes. Nandal. Yes. Pursley. Yes. Neal. Yes. Kuzi. Saini. Graybill. Yes. Bernal.
Yes.
Valenzuela. Lima Barbosa. Valley. Cernaski.
Yes.
Martins.
Yes.
Fliggy.
Yes.
Kabir.
Yes.
Marcus.
Yes.
With a vote of 24 to 0 to 2, the bill passes. We'll now move to 2026-3-012F, Funding Iranian Students and Scholars Association with Senator Lima Barbosa.
Okay, everyone, I invite the representative of the club to go to the podium. I just want to point out that part of the money is coming out of Senate discretionary, and the other part's coming out of the events account. Any questions on this particularly? I'm gonna ask you guys to refer to Finance Director, but I'll let the representative speak about the event.
All right, thank you, everyone. My name is Mustafa Anjbar. I'm a PhD student in the Applied Linguistics and Technology program in the English department. And I'm also a fundraising chair at the Iranian Association, Iranian Students and Scholars Association. So this event is basically the most important event of the year for Iranians. Nowruz is a new year for in the Persian community. It's been celebrated for more than 3,000 years among Persia, and we hope to be able to celebrate this event. We want to actually book a conference salon in the Gateway Hotel. Our previous event, which was Yalda Night, which is the longest night of the year, took place in December. We got the funding from the Event Funding Board, and we had about 150 students participated, and we ordered about 180 Iranian food. For this event, we expect even more people because this is more important than our previous event. New Year is basically the major event that we expect every year. And as you can see here, for food, I think, as I said, we are expected much more people compared to our previous event. We want to order either from the hotel or from Chicago. So our previous event, we ordered the food from Chicago, and they delivered and also catered it for us. And the Gateway Hotel, they actually charge around $1,000 for one day. But we, again, hope to also get some funding from the event funding board. And the decorations that I put in there is also about not just the decorations, but also like the LCD projects, LCD projectors, and even LED lights, the dance floor, everything the hotel charges. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
It's been called to question and seconded. Are there any objections? Closing comments? Senator Iona Dimhoff. Yes. Grafe. Yes. Jones. Yes. Utica. Yes. Miller. Yes. Cocoon. Yes. Dahman. Yes. Corshi. Yes. Bailey. Yes. Hartley. Yes. Margaret. Yes. Nandal. Yes. Pursley. Yes. Neal. Yes. Kuzi.
Yes.
Saini. Graybill. Yes. Bernal.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Lima Barbosa. Valley. Yes. Cernaski.
Yes.
Martins.
Yes.
Bliggy.
Yes.
Kabir.
Yes.
Marcus. With a vote of 26 to 0, the bill passes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll now move to 2026-3-016F, funding for AFLIC event part 2 with Senator Saini.
We saw this bill in finance last week and sent it favorably to the Senate, and I would encourage the reps for the clubs to approach the podium and talk about the bill.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Adi Gare. I'm a PhD student in the Department of Mechanical Engineering. Currently, I'm the president of African Learning and Evolving Community. We are having our event, half-a surf hackathon, which is the goal of the event is to bring brains together in solving pollutions and creating ideas that will help sustainability in our environment. Currently, as of 13th of February, we have up to 51 students who has registered for the event currently. So we are just looking forward to see how we could get it organized, fund together and organize and fuel people that will be coming for the event and make the event successful.
Senator Iona Dimhoff.
I just want to thank you for taking the time to be here for this long of duration of a meeting, and I also want to extend that to the representative of the Iranian Student Association as well. So thank you for sticking around, and I hope your event goes great.
Thank you.
Senator Utica.
Like she said, I also want to thank you for taking your time to be here. And secondly, I also want to extend the invitation also to the people here. Also, I believe I've registered, and I believe this will be a fun event. So I would also advise, if you can, register for the event. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been called to question and seconded. Are there any objections? Closing comments? Any closing comments, Senator Saini? We move forward with a roll call vote. Iona Dimhoff. Yes. Grafe. Yes. Jones. Yes. Utica. Yes. Miller.
Yes.
Cocoon. Dahman.
Yes.
Corshi.
Yes.
Bailey. Yes. Hartley. Yes. Margaret.
Yes.
Nandal.
Yes.
Pursley. Yes. Neal. Kuzi.
Yes.
Saini. Graybill. Bernal. Valenzuela. Lima Barbosa. Valley. Cernaski. Martins. Fliggy. Kabir. Marcus. With a vote of 25 to 0 to 1, the bill passes. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We'll now move to special orders, starting with 2026-3-001 SZ, constitutional amendments inspired by the 2025 Constitutional Convention with Speaker Pursley.
Hello, I just wanted to remind everyone that the MU closes at 10, so just be intentional. But let's make sure that we look through these changes diligently. So these are the proposed amendments for the Constitution. They've been seen by the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the Rules Committee for months now. The proposals document is included, and there is a 2-pager shorthand version of the changes being made in the comments section, and those were also printed and put throughout the office this week. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Senator Utica.
Thank you very much. I believe constitutional amendments should be something we have to look in depth and probably debate, right? If I'm correct. So is it possible to table this next week?
It is possible to table it to next week, but we still have 30 minutes of time. I think that should be enough.
Yeah, that should be enough to debate this. Is that what you said? Like for me, I believe that this actually requires critical analysis. If we can table it for next week and probably move into the other ones.
I will also say that this bill was on first read last week, and these changes have been put throughout the office for the past 2 weeks.
Okay.
It's been available information.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Margaret.
Switching gears slightly, looking at some of the comments on the bill, just to get those out of the way, there are 3 comments on page 5 that all say voting. The intention there is we change some language so that abstentions are truly what you think of when you think of Robert's Rules abstentions. There are 3 instances of seated senators that we need to change the voting that were just missed in committee. If Speaker Pursley would take those as friendly, since that was the intent. And then, pardon me? Perfect. And then going down very quickly for page 8, just to put the amendment actually into line 3 that says floor amendment. This is in the comments there, 3 different parts. The language that we settled upon regarding conflicts of interest with advisors, that all parties agree on, that does not violate the affiliation agreement. So this is the compromise language, and I would move those amendments.
Okay. Are you talking about the very 4 bottom amendments? The first 3 that say voting. Yep. Okay. So the motion is the 3 comments made by Senator Margaret towards the end of the document. The first one is adding in line 4, advisor or employee. The next one is in line 1, replacing with fall outside of the official duties of their government role. Next one in line 3, which says floor amendment. It says advisors shall not participate in any discussions or deliberations relating to external organizations, entities, or parties in which they have a personal, professional, financial, or organizational interest. To ensure a broad and balanced representation, at least 1/2 of student government advisors must not hold affiliation with an external organization, entity, or party that receives or is seeking funding or support from the government. Those are the 3 amendments Senator Margaret would like to make. It's been seconded. Are there any objections? Can you use your microphone?
I don't think, yeah. Okay, my question is, how does this affect our advisors currently?
That's a great question. If one of our advisors would like to speak on it, they would be welcome to, but I don't believe there would be any sort of major impact. It's my understanding. Senator Jones was asking what impact, if any, our compromise language would, to what extent would it affect our current advising team? I'm saying to my knowledge, it would not impact our advising team to any great extent.
Yeah, as it's written, there's no conflicts or any issues with the affiliation agreement or the outline of how advising works for student government. Yeah.
Do you withdraw your objection?
I do.
All right, so we are back to the made and seconded motion for those amendments. Are there any objections? All right.
Okay, I have a friendly, kind of. This was kind of a clarification type. On page 2, we had the government shall not, comma, or on or after June 30th, 2027, pay for units of community services consumed by recipients other than Iowa State University students and their dependents. Some confusion with what counts as a dependent. We just would like to add and spouses to that.
There's been a motion to amend Article 2, Section A, line 4, and add the language will then read, the government shall not, after June 30th, 2027, pay for units of community service consumed by recipients other than Iowa State University students, their spouses, and their dependents. It's been seconded. Are there any objections? Without objection.
And then I just have a amendment on behalf of the court. Article 9.4. It would provide more specifics. Our Chief Justice has made a comment, including a point 4A and point 4B, including examples of when those conflicts in a public manner may arrive or be relevant to disclose.
So to the conflicts of interest section under line 4, there's a motion to add a line 4A, which reads, executive officers shall release potential conflict sources via a publicly posted personal finance statement within 2 weeks of their election. And additionally, line 4B, senators shall release their potential conflict sources via a publicly posted personal finance statement within 4 weeks of their election. Is there a second? Are there any objections? Without objection.
And I would just offer a friendly on that to spell out both of those numbers and in parentheses put the number.
All right. Senator Marcus.
Sorry, it took me a minute there to figure out the mic. I just wanted to add on the amendments as a whole here, or amendments, adjustments, the way that the Constitution is currently written with all the changes that our Rules Committee, Judicial Branch, advisors, all of them have worked very hard to make. I just want to say that I read through it looking for questions, and I know it was commented on earlier if we should table this. I was personally going to say I read through it over this past week after it was on first read. I looked for as many questions as I could find. I found 1 or 2, and they were both answered for me before this meeting today. And so I was going to say that I will not be in favor of tabling it if that motion is proposed to the Senate. I yield.
Senator Saney. Nope. Let's go Senator Miller.
There are several other things on the agenda, like the seating of a new LAS senator, and I would be ashamed if she was not sat tonight and she's waited 3.5 hours to have to go home and come back next time without being sat. As well, I mean, there's a bunch of other stuff.
Thank you.
Also on the agenda.
Senator Kuzi.
What? No, I'm not. Yeah,
Just,
I'm still talking.
it's not necessarily germane discussion to the point at hand.
No, I'm motioning to table the bill for a week.
There's been a motion to table the bill for a week. It's been seconded. It was objected to. Vice Speaker Hartley.
In order to follow our bylaws based on how election procedures shall go, we need to have these approved. And I will say, we have had enough time to discuss these. And I agree, I think we should get to that bill, but I do think we should exhaust the conversation that we are having currently. Sorry.
Do you withdraw your motion? Okay.
It's also,
Could I amend my motion to also rescind all the changes we made so far? In the 5 minutes, we've made a ton of sweeping changes. It's been 3.5 hours, and I've noticed that several senators are extremely tired. And there was a lot I would have liked to say, but we seem to be rushing through because we have 30 minutes left.
Point of information, we didn't rush through the amendments made in the Constitution. If you didn't want to have it be ejected, you should have said you objected to it. We didn't rush through anything. We've been going through at a slow pace, and these amendments is on second read. We have been seeing this for 2 weeks now, or for 1 week? And so I think it is time to pass it. You've had the time to look at the amendments.
Just to chime in and maybe try and simplify things a little bit. So Senator Miller made a motion to table for how long?
1 week.
1 week. It's been seconded. We're in discussion. Can I call the question and we vote on whether or not to table?
Okay, so I have your motion right now is to table for 1 week.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so there's a motion to table for 1 week. Is there a second? A second, okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and vote. A roll call vote has been called for. A yes means we will table this for 1 week. A no means we will continue on the bill. Iona Dimhoff. No. Grafe. No. Jones. No. Utica. Yes. Miller.
Yes.
Kekun.
Yes.
Dahman.
No.
Qureshi. No. Bailey. No. Hartley. Margaret? No. Nundall? No. Persley? No. Neal? No. Kuzi?
No.
Saney? Yes. Graybill? No. Bernal?
No.
Valenzuela?
No.
Lima Barbosa? Valley? Yes. Srinaski?
Yes.
Martins? Fliggy? Yes. Kabir? No. Marcus? With a vote of 8 to 17 to 1, the motion fails. We are back to the bill. Senator Kuzi.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of discuss this a little bit. I know we had a lot of procedural discussion already, but just discussion on what I'm in support of, what I think my constituents would be in support of. First, conflicts of interest. There's been great discussion on that in our Student Government Senate office. Great things there. I also appreciated the addition of 4A. Also, the units of service to students, their spouses, and dependents is significantly going to change our budgets. It's significantly going to help our students more, and I'm in full support of that. I don't know. While I understand that we want to get out of here, I also understand that this is worth discussing quite a bit and figuring out what the intentions between each of the items are would be important. We've heard some of it, but discussion as a group and not just procedure, I think, should come next.
Senator Margaret.
Just to offer what I believe would be a friendly, so looking at conflicts of interest, point 4, sections A and B, just switching out the language of take election, or of, excuse me, of winning election to taking office in the event that an officer is appointed to fill a vacancy instead of being elected.
There's a motion on the table to adjust in the conflicts of interest section, number 4A and B, the words their election with taking office. So replacing their election with taking office has been seconded. Are there any objections? Without objection. Speaker Pursley.
Okay, everyone. Rules Committee created a really helpful document that condenses all the changes we've proposed into 2 pages. Like I said earlier, it's in a comment on the bill. It's called Constitution Changes One-Pager. Mostly all of the changes that we are making is formatting changes, spelling grammar corrections, and updating to reflect what we currently do as a government. And then we have a couple other changes that we've made, such as contracts shall not exceed a term length of 4 academic years, effective for contracts signed after April 6, 2026. And we tried to put that in last year, but the language wasn't quite right. Mostly all of it is changing things to our current practices, lowering the signature required for an initiative from 2,000 to 750, the conflicts of interest statement, and then specifying that student fees committee would make up 1 representative from the executive, 1 representative from the legislative, and the finance director. I believe those are all the big changes, but most of it is just correcting the Constitution to what we currently do. Again, this has been out for 2 weeks. I asked you to look at it thoroughly a week ago. If you didn't do that, I'm sorry.
Senator Jones. Vice Speaker Hartley.
One other change that I would like to note is that, like Quinn said before, we updated all of our language in this document to allow for true or proper abstentions in our votes, so they wouldn't account against the majority. That was something that was agreed upon by a large percent of the student government population, that the way that we were interpreting it wasn't up to par. And so we changed that wording to be more in line with Robert's rules.
Senator Kuzi.
I actually had one quick question about that. So abstentions and abstentions due to conflict of interest that an individual sees in themselves, how do you identify which is which when you're voting under this change?
An abstention in Robert's Rules of Order means that it removes you from the vote count, so you wouldn't count towards a yes or no. It would be like taking someone off the roll almost. I think that's the best way to explain it. So if you chose to abstain, you would not be on the vote count.
So I think, if I'm understanding this right, there's some concern that senators were using abstentions as a polite no, but in Robert's rules, it's supposed to be removal by conflict.
Yes.
Or otherwise.
Removal from the roll, yes.
From the roll. Okay, thank you.
Senator Martins.
I just wanted to ask there's a couple things that signatures got reduced from, I think it was 2,000 to 750. I just kind of wanted to ask for the reasoning behind that, and yeah.
Yeah, so an initiative in special elections is if a bunch of students come together and want an initiative and 2,000 petitions for a bunch of students coming together for a special initiative seemed like an insane amount, and we lowered it to 750 because that is, like, it seemed a more reasonable amount for students to gather. And that was in collaboration with Election Commission. And then as well, the signatures required for special elections from 2,000 to 750 to reflect that change before.
Awesome, thank you.
Senator Kikun?
Well, I think based on the petitions or like the number of signatures, we should have about 31,000 students, right? Student population in the school. So that's a very small percentage.
The election petition number also got moved down last year to 500, and that was kind of the reasoning behind why we changed this one down, but we also agreed that it should be more than 500, so we agreed upon 750.
Well, okay, for election petition, I think I might understand because our participation in the election is typically very, very low in many processes. But from what you're saying, I would like to know, like, what aspect of things would have to, like, I'm trying to figure out the right word. Like, what sort of items would qualify for this? If you could give maybe an example.
Shusti.
Okay, so this number would be just to calling an election. So 700 students would call the election, and then people would vote on the election for the initiative. It's not just for calling in, like, just for voting and getting it on. It's for getting it on the ballot for election. So I think reflecting its 750 number, since only 3,000, about 10% of the student body votes, is a good number. And
okay.
I think it helps students get.
Yeah, okay.
It's been called to question and seconded. Are there any objections? Closing comments? Roll call vote has been called for. Ina Dimhoff. Grafe. Jones. Utica. Miller. Kikun. Daman. Corshi. Bailey. Hartley. Margaret? Nandal? Yes. Persley? Yes. Neal? Yes. Kuzi? Yes. Saini? Yes. Graybill? Bernal? Valenzuela? Lima Barbosa? Yes. Valley? Cernaski? Martins? Fliggy? Yes. Kabir? Marcus? With a vote of 24 to 0 to 1, the bill passes. We'll now move to 2026-3-002 SD, seating an LAS senator with Senator Iona Dimhoff.
So we saw this individual last week in LAS Council, and we sent her favorably, sorry, it's been a long night, to fulfill one of the open LAS seats. And then just as a note for everyone, this seating bill would also seat her to Local Affairs Committee, which we already sat her as an at-large last session, so she's already been on the committee working with us, already has a project and everything.
Perfect. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight. Despite it being a little bit of a late night, I actually am very happy to be here. I think it's extremely beneficial for me to see everything that you guys are doing, and it's a good learning experience. But anyways, my name is Emily Carr, and I'm currently a sophomore here at Iowa State, and I'm majoring in political science, global resource systems, and international studies. I'm also minoring in French and Spanish. I have served as an at-large for student government for about a year now, coming up on a year and a half, and I'm currently working with local affairs, but I have also previously served on the IDEA committee as well. And I'm pretty participatory on campus. I am a student department ambassador for a couple departments here in LAS, and I'm in the International Student Council as well as several other smaller student organizations. And yeah, that's pretty much everything about me, but if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask.
Vice Speaker Hartley.
Okay, I have an amendment to this bill, just adding a third whereas clause and first ordered clause. This would be seating Emily to the Local Affairs Committee so she can go directly from at-large to sat on the committee.
There's been a motion to, I have to see that there. There's been a motion to amend the third whereas clause to say, ex officio Bolin has met with this individual and determined that they are to be sat to the Local Affairs Committee, be it therefore, and then this first ordered clause that Emily Carr be sat to the Local Affairs Committee and be it further. Is there a second? Are there any objections? Senator Marcus. For speaking.
Just since you've been an at-large for some time, I'm sure you're aware this question is coming. If you had to describe yourself in one word, what word would you use?
Oh gosh, I actually did not think about this in advance, but probably just analytical, I guess.
Senator Grafe.
I just want to voice my support. I've worked with Emily for quite some time and been in numerous classes, well, one class. And, and I just think she's an amazing person through and through, and she cares so deeply about student government, and that really shines as her work as an at-large. So for the sake of time, I'm not going to say anything else, just that.
Senator Lima Barbosa.
I will say, because she's definitely one of the people that I worked on campus in a leadership position and that I like the most. You're actually amazing to work with, so you have like 100% of my support, and that's it.
Thank you both so much.
Senator Nandal.
I also wanted to voice my support for Emily Carr. She had served under my time as IDEA director as an at-large from a committee, and she was very dedicated, and I look forward to seeing you in the Senate role.
Senator Sanaski.
I just wanted to say thank you for waiting for so long tonight. You seem like an excellent candidate for Senate. My question to you is, I noticed you have 3 majors and 2 minors. How are you going to be able to balance Senate and all of that?
Yeah, so even though it does kind of sound like a lot, it does all play into each other. It's surprisingly not as much as it sounds. But yeah, I've always been pretty good at managing lots of moving parts. I've always been a little bit of an overachiever, taking like lots of credits, but I'm good at managing it, and it's what I like to do. And student government is one of those organizations that I've chosen to put my time and effort into, and so I'll make it happen regardless.
Awesome. Well, you have my support. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been called to question and seconded. Are there any objections? Closing comments? UC has been called for. Is there a second? Are there any objections? Congratulations. We'll now move to new business. Yeah, that's true. Can you come closer to the microphone?
Okay, I'm going to have you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I solemnly swear or affirm
I solemnly swear or affirm
to execute the duties of my position
to execute the duties of my position
as prescribed in the Constitution
as prescribed in the Constitution
and laws of the government
and laws of the government
for the benefit of all students.
for the benefit of all students.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now move to new business, starting with 2026-3-002SA, new and improved Committee on Lectures contract with Vice Speaker Hartley.
This contract is new and improved, and one of the major changes is just moving this up to $200,000. I can take any yes or no questions if we have any.
Senator Bernal.
Motion to add Senator Carr to the roll.
There's been a motion to add Senator Carr to the roll. It's been seconded. Are there any objections? Seeing no debate, we'll now move to 2026-3-017F to establish the Miller Grant for Open and Affordable Educational Content Innovation with Senator Marcus.
This bill is on first read. It will be sent to Finance, and I can answer any yes or no questions.
Seeing no questions, we'll move to 2026-3-018F, funding for Alpha Kappa Psi? Psi? Yep. With Senator Saney.
This bill on the first read, and we'll see in Finance tomorrow, and probably send it to Senate soon. Yeah, and I can answer any yes or no questions.
Good evening, Memorial. Yes, Memorial.
Seeing none, we will move to 2026-3-019F, More Green for the Green Initiative with Senator Valley.
Hi guys, this is on first read and it'll be sent over to the Finance Committee. I can answer any yes or no questions.
Seeing no questions, we'll move to 2026-3-020F, funding for pre-veterinary club event with Senator Jones.
Hey guys, this is on first read, and we'll see it tomorrow in Finance Committee. I can answer yes or no questions.
Seeing no questions, we'll move to 2026-3-021F, funding the 180-degree consulting club with Senator Jones.
Me again. We're also going to see it tomorrow in Finance Committee. Yes or no questions? Perfect.
Seeing no questions, we'll move to 2026-3-003SA, Malaysian Student Association debt contract with Senator Marcus.
We will see this in Finance Committee tomorrow, and I can answer any yes or no questions.
Seeing none, are there any closing comments for the good of the group? Vice Speaker Hartley.
Thank you all for this meeting. I really appreciate every single one of you.
Speaker Pursley.
Motion to adjourn, go Cyclones.
There's been a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Are there any objections?